You ever notice how sometimes you do everything right? Visualize, affirm, stay positive, and yet nothing moves? Like the universe is on mute, even when you're screaming your clearest intention? That's because you're on the wrong station. Most people try to manifest by sending a signal outward, asking, scripting, forcing the universe to notice them. But manifestation doesn't work like a broadcast. It works like tuning. Every version of your reality is already on air, right now. Each outcome, peace, money, love, health, exists as a specific frequency. The question isn't whether it's available, it's whether you're actually receiving it. And here's the part most people miss. Your energy isn't what you say or even what you think. It's the pattern your body is holding, your baseline. You might say, I'm abundant, but if your nervous system is clenched around fear of lack, your dial is still locked on scarcity FM. This one energetic shift changes everything. It's not about effort or time or even belief. It's about coherence, the alignment between what you broadcast through your body and what you expect through your mind. When those two finally hum the same note, reality bends fast. It feels like doors just click open, calls come through, people appear out of nowhere, but nothing arrived. You just tuned in. You've been chasing outcomes that already exist. The moment you learn how to match their frequency, not by pretending, but by embodying, the lag dissolves. This is the single shift that turns waiting into receiving. And the irony? It's quieter than you think. Everything you experience is feedback from your current frequency. Not punishment, not reward, just reflection. Like tuning into a station, you don't argue with static, you adjust the dial. Let's ground that. The observer effect in quantum physics shows that the act of observation changes what's observed. But here's what most people skip. How you observe matters more than what you observe. Your attention carries a frequency. When you look at your life through fear or urgency, you're not just seeing lack, you're stabilizing it. You keep confirming the signal that says, this is who I am. Now think of yourself as both the radio and the tuner. Your mind sets the intention, what station you want, but your body determines whether you can receive it. You can't tune to 98.7 if your circuitry's still wired to 89.5. The gap between those two is what people call resistance. This is why people say, I'm doing the work, yet life feels paused. They're trying to transmit a new signal from a body still calibrated to the old one. Your nervous system can't lie. If it doesn't feel safe in the frequency of expansion, love, abundance, visibility, it will subconsciously steer you back to the old static, because familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar peace. The shift happens when observation becomes embodied. When you stop watching reality from a place of trying to fix it and start observing it from within the vibration you're calling in, that's when coherence begins. It's not imagination, it's biology. Your heart and brain literally synchronize into a unified rhythm, and the field around you organizes to match. Here's the paradox. The universe doesn't need convincing. It needs consistency. You can't fake a frequency for 10 minutes a day and expect the dial to lock in. It's not about wishing harder. It's about regulating until the new signal feels normal. When coherence stabilizes, manifestation stops being creation and becomes selection. You're no longer pulling outcomes in. You're stepping into the version of reality that's been waiting for you to catch up. But this is where most people hit their first invisible wall. The myth that stops almost everyone right before their shift clicks into place. Because they think they have to do more to make it work. We've been conditioned to believe that if something isn't happening, we must do more. Push harder, visualize longer, raise the vibe, grind, repeat. But that's like turning the radio volume up when you're on the wrong frequency. It just makes the static louder. Let me show you. You're staring at your bank app. The number dips lower every day. You tell yourself you're trusting the process, but your chest is tight, your breath shallow. You light a candle, say an affirmation, money flows easily to me. But a voice underneath whispers, no, it doesn't. You ignore it. You script again, repeat your mantra, but your body's still vibrating scarcity. The universe doesn't read your words, it reads your nervous system. That inner squeeze, that subtle panic, it's not a flaw. It's a signal mismatch. You're trying to broadcast abundance from the frequency of fear. And the more you force the signal, the more static you create. Because what you resist, you energize. Here's the truth. Most manifestation advice misses. Effort born from tension is repulsion. When you strain toward what you want, you affirm its distance. You keep saying through energy, it's not here yet. The real power move isn't doing more, it's detuning. releasing the noise that blocks reception. Think of an old radio dial. When you move it too fast, you skip over the clear signal. But when you slow down, when you fine-tune, the melody locks in effortlessly. That's how energy works. The song you want, peace, prosperity, love, has always been playing. You just couldn't hear it beneath the static of survival. The moment you stop gripping, the field rebalances. Ideas drop in, someone calls. A path you couldn't see yesterday appears like it was there all along. Because it was. You just weren't tuned to it. So manifestation isn't about more doing, it's about different being. And the wild part? That's exactly what your nervous system resists most, because it learned that slowing down isn't safe, that if you stop hustling, everything collapses. But what if that belief is the very frequency blocking your reception? What happens when the body finally learns that safety isn't in control, but in coherence? Your body is the instrument that plays your frequency. And if the strings are wound too tight, nothing resonates, just noise. That's why nervous system safety isn't a luxury. It's the gateway. Without it, your energy can't stabilize. You might have the clearest vision board, the most poetic affirmations, but if your body is locked in survival, it keeps scanning for threats instead of opportunities. You're tuned to defense, not creation. When your system feels unsafe, every new possibility registers as risk. Even joy can feel dangerous, because your cells remember the crash after the high. So instead of expanding, your body subtly resists. You call it procrastination, self-sabotage, overthinking, but really, it's protection. The antidote isn't to fight that instinct, it's to update it, to show your body, moment by moment, that it can be safe in the frequency of receiving. That's where coherence begins. Let's do this together for a few breaths. Close your eyes if you can. Unclench your jaw, drop your shoulders. Feel your weight sink into the surface beneath you. Let your exhale get a little longer than your inhale. Slow, steady, no force. Now bring one hand to your chest, one to your lower belly. Imagine your breath flowing between them, connecting head, heart, and gut. On each exhale, silently tell your body, you're safe to soften. Feel that safety spread, like static dissolving into music. That's coherence beginning to form, not through thought, but rhythm. Your heart rate synchronizes, your brain waves shift, your field clears. In that moment, you're not trying to manifest anything. You're becoming the environment where manifestation can occur naturally. Coherence is your real alignment practice, because once your body stops bracing, your energy stops leaking. You start broadcasting a steady tone instead of a flicker. That's when reality recognizes you, not because you demanded it, but because you matched it. And that's the hidden reason why high vibration isn't about hyped positivity. It's about safety. Real power doesn't spike. It hums. Now that your system knows what coherence feels like, you're ready for the deeper layer, the one shift that transforms temporary alignment into lasting embodiment, the difference between a fleeting state and a stable identity. You can meditate, journal, visualize, and for a few hours feel perfectly aligned. The music comes through clear. You're calm, confident, magnetic. But then something small happens. A text doesn't come, a bill appears, and the static rushes back. Why? Because the station was borrowed, not built. A state is like visiting a new frequency for a moment. An identity is living there. It's the difference between playing a song and being the instrument. Most people treat manifestation as state maintenance, trying to hold a feeling long enough to convince reality to shift. But the universe doesn't respond to fleeting moods. It responds to consistency. Your identity, your habitual emotional posture, is the anchor that keeps you locked to a certain station. Think of a singer who tries to hit a high note once, straining with all their effort. They might reach it, but they can't sustain it. True power comes when the body itself learns to hold that note effortlessly. That's identity level change. You can feel the difference. In a temporary state, your nervous system is performing safety. In identity, it is safety. You don't need to remind yourself to trust. You simply do. You don't repeat affirmations about abundance. You unconsciously make choices that match it. That's why it's not about thinking rich or acting confident. Those are still states. Identity is when the new frequency becomes your resting tone, the home note your field vibrates around without conscious effort. Here's the paradox most people never spot. The more you chase a state, the more you reinforce that you don't own it yet. But when you embody an identity, the energy self-corrects. Life starts rearranging to fit your new default, because it always mirrors your most stable vibration. And here's where it gets wild. Every identity is a coordinate in a vast field of timelines. Change who you are being, and the version of reality that matches it lights up instantly. You don't climb toward it, you shift into it. That's the secret beyond manifestation. It's not about pulling something in, it's about moving through frequencies of self. But if every identity aligns to a different reality, then what determines which timeline your body actually stabilizes in? Imagine walking into a room where you used to shrink, where every voice felt louder than yours. Maybe it's a meeting, a friend group, or a place where old insecurities used to whisper. But this time, something's different. You're not faking confidence. You simply feel stable. You speak, and people actually pause to listen. No performance, no defense, just resonance. That's not luck. That's a timeline shift. Each identity you hold is like a preset station on your inner radio. There's the version of you who hides, the one who performs, the one who flows effortlessly. Every single one is broadcasting right now, and whichever identity your nervous system feels most at home in, that's the station that plays. Timelines aren't mystical paths you jump into. They're coherent patterns of frequency that match your current embodiment. When you shift identity, you don't change the world. You change which version of the world you interface with. You've already felt this. Think of days when you wake up grounded, peaceful, certain. Everything syncs. The right words come. Opportunities line up. Then compare it to the mornings when you're rushed, tense, self-doubting. How even simple things glitch. The outer differences are just reflections of which inner frequency you've logged into. In the social scenario, your old identity, let's call it the invisible one, broadcasts fear of rejection. So the field responds, people overlook you, conversations bypass you. But when you inhabit the identity of the grounded one, your tone, breathing, posture, micro-expressions, all shift. The field reorganizes. The same people feel a different pull toward you because you're radiating a new station. And here's the liberating part. You don't have to fix your past to change timelines. You only have to stop identifying with the version of you that was shaped by it. The moment you embody a new internal rhythm, calm, enough, deserving, the coordinates realign. You start crossing paths with people, opportunities, and coincidences that exist on that specific frequency. Reality is less linear than it looks. It's layered, like channels waiting for your dial to click. So the real question isn't, how do I make my dream timeline appear? It's, who do I have to be for it to feel familiar? Because the universe doesn't hand you what you demand. It mirrors what feels like home. And the way to make that new identity familiar isn't mystical. It's methodical. A rehearsal your body learns to trust until the new frequency locks in permanently. If identity selects your timeline, then the most powerful thing you can do is rehearse being that identity until your body no longer doubts it. Not pretend. Rehearse. Actors don't fake their roles. They live inside them until the lines disappear. That's what energetic rehearsal feels like. Training your nervous system to recognize the frequency of the future you as normal. Here's how you do it. Tool 1. Bridge statements. Affirmations often backfire because your body doesn't believe them. You say, I'm abundant, and your subconscious rolls its eyes. Bridge statements create believable transitions. Instead of leaping to the finish line, you bridge to it. I'm learning to feel safe with abundance. I'm opening to the idea that opportunities like me exist. I'm starting to trust that receiving can be easy. These phrases open your frequency rather than forcing it. They're the gentle twist of the dial that finds the station instead of snapping it. Tool 2. Somatic anchors. Pick one physical gesture, pressing your hand over your heart, loosening your jaw, exhaling through the mouth, that signals safety to your body. Use it anytime fear, urgency, or doubt flare up. That anchor becomes your tuning knob. Over time, your system learns that the frequency of calm equals home base. Tool 3. Energetic rehearsal. Once a day, close your eyes and imagine yourself in a normal day as your next level identity, not achieving, just being. Notice how you walk, breathe, talk to people, move through space. Don't make it cinematic, make it ordinary. The more mundane the scene, the faster your body locks it in. Tool 4. Future echo. Speak small decisions through that identity's voice. Before sending a message, ask, what would the grounded, coherent me write? Before making a purchase, how would the abundant me handle this? You're teaching your cells a new script until it becomes automatic. This is how timelines stabilize, through repetition without tension. It's less about quantum leaps and more about quantum remembering, coming back to what's already encoded inside you. And when you stop performing the identity and start relaxing into it, life mirrors the relaxation. Calls land. People respond differently. You feel more room inside your own skin. Have you noticed the moment you stopped gripping? What you wanted finally showed up. Tell me your story in the comments. It might unlock someone else's leap, because every time one of us stabilizes a new frequency, the collective field tunes a little clearer. Let's be honest. The shift sounds simple, but living it isn't. There are 3 energy patterns that sneak back in the moment you start tuning clearly. They're so familiar, you might even mistake them for motivation. The first, urgency. That feeling of, I need it to happen now. You can sense it in your chest, tight, buzzing, forward-leaning. Urgency is the body's way of saying, I don't trust that it's already unfolding. It compresses your signal. Imagine yanking the radio dial faster because you're impatient for the song. You just skip past the station. The antidote? Slow presence. When urgency hits, don't try to calm it with logic. Breathe into it. Place a hand where you feel the rush and whisper, we're not late. It's astonishing how quickly the body remembers timing isn't external, it's vibrational. Reality aligns when you stop outrunning it. The second trap, split signals. Part of you says yes, part of you says, but what if it fails? That energetic wobble keeps the frequency unstable. You're broadcasting 2 songs at once, static, guaranteed. The solution isn't to cancel the doubt, it's to integrate it. Talk to the fear like an ally. I know you're trying to protect me from disappointment. Gratitude neutralizes resistance faster than suppression ever will. Integration turns inner conflict into coherence. The third, over-control. That constant need to manage, plan, force outcomes. It's disguised as responsibility, but underneath it's fear wearing a suit. Control tightens your grip on the radio dial instead of letting the melody play. You can't micromanage a frequency, you can only stabilize it. When you catch yourself forcing results, practice surrendering micro-moments. Pause before sending that extra message, before checking that update. Whisper, if I'm aligned, I don't need to chase. Then watch how often reality meets you halfway. These 3, urgency, split signals, control, are all forms of mistrust in the field's intelligence. They're the ego's way of trying to play DJ for the universe. But when you step back, the music plays clearer than anything you could orchestrate. Each obstacle is actually an invitation. Every time urgency arises, it's a call to anchor safety. Every doubt is a reminder to include more of yourself. Every control impulse is an opportunity to practice letting life move through you instead of trying to move life. Because the moment you stop managing the frequency, it manages you, flawlessly. And that's what integration looks like in motion. Daily, simple, grounded. It's easy to feel aligned when the music is loud, when you're meditating, scripting, or deep in a vision board high. But coherence isn't proven in rituals. It's proven in the mundane. The field listens most closely to what you do when you think no one's watching. The moments between intentions. You want to know your true frequency? Notice how you open your eyes in the morning. Do you brace for the day before your feet touch the floor? Or do you pause long enough to breathe safety into your body before you move? That one breath decides what timeline you step into. Coherence is walking slower than your thoughts. It's eating without scrolling. It's being aware of how your hand wraps around a coffee mug, the temperature, the weight. It's saying thank you silently before the sip. Because gratitude isn't a mood. It's a signal that tells the universe, I already have. Try this. When you walk down the street, imagine you're tuning through frequencies with every step. Each inhale calibrates you to presence. Each exhale releases static. Look at the world through the eyes of your coherent self, the one who trusts that what's needed will arrive right on time. You'll notice tiny synchronicities begin stacking. A stranger's smile, a text that solves what you were just thinking about, a sudden lightness that has no external reason. That's the field responding to your steadiness. Coherence also shows in your conversations. Instead of defending your worth, start embodying it. When someone challenges you, try not to collapse or convince. Just breathe and let the frequency of calm do the talking. Energy always precedes words, and people subconsciously attune to your state more than your logic. Integration isn't adding more practices, it's remembering during the smallest moments. The shower, the traffic light, the grocery line. Each is a tuning opportunity. Because manifestation isn't a task you do in sacred spaces, it's a signal you live in real time. The miracle begins when your ordinary becomes sacred by default, when the field doesn't have to shout to get your attention anymore because you're listening all the time. And once your daily life stabilizes in coherence, something wild starts to happen. Your influence expands beyond your personal orbit. The frequency doesn't stop with you. It begins to ripple outward, touching relationships, purpose, creativity, health. Once your frequency steadies, it doesn't stay contained. Energy never does. It radiates, quietly at first, then unmistakably. People sense something different, even if they can't name it. They start responding to your coherence instead of your words. That's when you realize manifestation was never just about getting things. It was about becoming someone whose very presence reorganizes reality. Take relationships. When you anchor in coherence, you stop attracting partners who mirror your old wounds. The need to prove, chase, or fix dissolves. Suddenly, conversations open. People feel safer around you because your nervous system signals, "I'm not here to compete or cling." That safety invites reciprocity. Love begins to feel less like a transaction and more like resonance, two frequencies harmonizing naturally. Or look at creativity. Maybe you used to sit staring at a blank screen, waiting for inspiration. But in coherence, ideas flow as if you're downloading them. You're no longer the creator trying to squeeze brilliance out of pressure. You're the receiver tuned to the bandwidth where inspiration already plays. That's why the best art feels channeled. It's coherence, captured in form. And health, your body mirrors your signal. When energy stops leaking through resistance and over-control, the immune system strengthens, digestion eases, recovery accelerates. Not because of magic, but because the body finally exits emergency mode. Healing becomes its natural station. Let's bring this to life. Scenario number 3, the athlete. A runner who's been training for months hits a plateau. No matter how hard they push, times don't improve. Then one day they stop obsessing over performance. They run with music, feeling rhythm instead of control. Their stride loosens, their breath synchronizes. Suddenly, they glide. Effortless speed, no tension. That's coherence in motion. The body syncing to the timeline where flow is the baseline, not the exception. The same principle applies everywhere. Coherence expands your impact because your field carries intelligence. You walk into a room and people calm down without knowing why. You speak an idea, and it lands with precision. The frequency transmits truth faster than persuasion ever could. And when that happens consistently, purpose stops being something you find. It's what remains when your noise clears. But the moment this realization dawns, something deeper stirs. You begin to feel the presence behind it all, the intelligence you're not controlling, but collaborating with, the energy that's been waiting for you to remember. It was never separate. At some point, coherence stops feeling like a practice and starts feeling like recognition. You realize you're not creating reality. You're remembering your place inside it. The more your energy harmonizes, the less it feels like you are doing anything. There's movement happening through you, not by you. Thoughts appear at the right moment. People cross your path like clockwork. Life feels choreographed but not forced. That's not coincidence. That's consciousness in flow. We spend so much energy trying to control the field, trying to demand, manifest, fix. But the field has always been intelligent. The wave doesn't need to direct the ocean. It only needs to remember it is the ocean. Surrender isn't giving up. It's tuning back in. It's the most advanced form of participation because it's pure trust in the intelligence that breathes universes into existence and still finds time to orchestrate your next conversation. You can feel it when surrender happens. Your body softens, but your energy amplifies. You stop gripping your desires and start allowing them to move toward you. The signal clears because there's finally no interference, no me versus it, just one frequency flowing both ways. That's what spiritual alignment really means. Remembering that the same consciousness observing the quantum field is also animating you. You are the observer and the observed, the radio and the song. And in that realization, manifestation collapses into something simpler: resonance. You don't pull reality in, you hum it into form. This is where paradox becomes your teacher. The less you try to prove worthiness, the more magnetic you become. The softer your will, the stronger your impact. Control fragments reality. Surrender fuses it. You discover that strength isn't in force, it's in frequency. And from here, the entire practice shifts from getting things to being a conduit. You start asking, how can life express through me more clearly, rather than, how can I get what I want? That's when fulfillment stops being conditional. You feel guided, partnered, sustained by something vast, Call it the field, God, source, coherence, consciousness. It doesn't need a name. You just know it by the peace it leaves in your chest. And as you settle into that current, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. This one energy shift doesn't just unlock what you've been waiting for. It reveals that nothing was ever missing. You started this journey thinking something was missing, that the life you wanted was waiting somewhere out there, behind effort, timing, or luck. But the truth was quieter. It was never about adding more. It was always about tuning closer. You've learned that reality isn't distant, it's layered. Each version of you already exists, playing its own song on a different station. And the only thing that ever kept you from hearing it was static, fear, urgency, self-doubt, the habit of control. But once you remembered how to tune, through safety, coherence, embodiment, the music came through clear. Not because you forced it, but because you finally matched it. That's the one energy shift that unlocks everything. The moment you stop broadcasting desperation and start receiving from stillness. The moment your body becomes a clear instrument again. You realize the universe never ignored you. It was just waiting for your signal to stabilize. Waiting for you to remember what abundance, love, and peace sound like, not as ideas, but as your own vibration. So here's your next move. Don't go searching for the next method, the next video, the next proof. Just listen. Notice where your energy tightens, where your breath skips, where your heart closes, and soften there. Because that's where the static lives. When you quiet it, the melody of your life gets louder. And one day, soon, you'll look around and realize you didn't chase the timeline you wanted. You became the person it was already tuned to. That's coherence. That's alignment. That's creation without force, with frequency. And once you've felt that clarity hum through you, you'll never again doubt your power to tune the world around you.